Welcome to The Deciding Point, our Cracked Racquets weekly breakdown of the biggest storylines happening throughout the tennis world. This week's episode going to focus on the 2021 Wimbledon, all of us tennis fans turning our attention to the year's third Grand Slam. I want to talk not only about my takeaways from the event, but how those takeaways apply to the broader context of what we've seen over the last 52 weeks in the tennis world. In particular, this episode going to focus on the women's side, and it should be a fantastic home stretch. Barty versus Kerber, Sabalenka versus Pliskova, all setting up for a fantastic final few days at the 2021 Wimbledon. With that in mind, let's talk some WTA Tour on this show. Westoff, hit those credits. Let's get rolling. A fun exercise for all of you listeners. Name which of these players are not currently in the WTA top 20. Is it Kerber? Is it Jabeur? Is it Mukova? Is it Gauff? Is it Kontaveit? Is it Pegula? Is it Ostapenko? Or is it Badosa? All of those players have had so much success. They've made second weeks at Grand Slams, countless quarterfinals, and titles between the group. And yet, the answer to the question, which one of them are not in the WTA top 20? All of them. Not a single one of the players I listed are currently found inside the WTA top 20. And it's worth mentioning, part of that is a byproduct of the fact that the ranking system is screwed up right now, that the adjustments we made to ease the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, of missing all of those events last summer, it didn't exactly work. There's some skewing, some problems, some points defended for certain players, and yet I name all of those players. Certainly Jabeur in particular, the consistent success. She's winning over 70% of her matches over the last 52 weeks. It's like a 45-19 clip. She's won a title, made multiple round of 16s at slams, made multiple quarterfinals at events. The recipe of a top 20 player, and certainly someone like Gauff, ditto with all of her resume. Annette Kontaveit has been right on the fringes of that group. Mukova, one of two players with multiple Grand Slam quarterfinals in 2021. And then Jess Pegula has been one of your breakout stars over the last 52 weeks. And yet, here are the fringe cases right now in the top 20 of the WTA rankings. Maybe you say Belinda Bencic just hasn't been consistent enough. That's fair. Maybe you say it's Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova outside of that one French Open final. What has she recently done? But she made a Grand Slam final. Usually that run always going to reward you pretty decently. Outside of that, it's names that are going to get you jumped on. Bianca Andreescu, has she played enough to still be in the top 20 compared to a Jabeur or, compared to a Mukova right now? Certainly her ceiling higher than those players, but has she been consistent enough? Should she be ranked above those players right now? It's tough to answer yes to that question if the ranking is supposed to be a metric of consistency, week in, week out performance, not just single upside at an event. Outside of that, it's Serena, because same deal. Does she play enough at this point to consistently hold that top 10 ranking? She's made a semifinal here in the 2021 season at a slam, but again, the weekend out grind. Gauff's got more wins. Kontaveit's got more wins. Jabeur's got more wins. Pegula's got more wins. They've played a tougher level of competition as well, week in, week out at some of these higher level events. And so all of this is to say, and I know I talked about the parity on a different segment, but the top 20 is jammed right now. We have, and I know this is stupid, 45 players, that's probably a little hyperbolic, but 35 players who could be considered having top 20 rankings. Certainly a solid 25 belong in that group. I think you could make the case that there are some players outside the top 30 as well who are rising up the rankings and may not quite have that top 20 form yet, but are certainly on the fringes of it. Again, Paula Badosa, she has been one of the most dominant players through the clay court season and then makes round of 16 here at Wimbledon, and she's not a top 20 player. What more does she need to do to crack into that group? Parity continues to be the name of the game, and it's not just, again, that there's no single dominant force. What I want to continue to emphasize, the names I just listed, these are all exceptional players. 17, 18, 19, 20 right now in the rankings. Mertens, Pavlyuchenkova, Sakkari, Rybakina. You're telling me those players don't belong in the top 20? Like maybe Pavlyuchenkova, and she's the one of those 4 names I listed with a slam final. So it's not just the fact that there's no single dominant force. There is this plethora of top 20 talent. The key is finding which one of those top 20 players can hit that next level, that top 10, top 5, even number 1 Grand Slam champion winning ceiling. We still don't have the answer to that question, but the answer to are there enough good tennis players, is the quality of the sport we're seeing as high as it has ever been? I think the answer to that question is an unequivocal yes.